Madhav Khadilkar, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm sorry about the initial glitch during my listening.
Most welcome.
And yeah, I'm thankful to Dr. Chandal, Dr. Ashok, and everybody else for giving me this opportunity. So Dr. Anil was asking me, how did you come upon this idea of this book, Atlas on Draping? So while working in the medical colleges, I realized that two things, that residents are never taught about draping techniques. There are no actual lessons which they are giving when they join in the residency. And secondly, most of the time the senior faculty doesn't do the draping of their cases. Most of the time the junior drapes, and then the faculty just joins when the patient is actually ready for surgery. So that made me start thinking that I should have something for the residents who coming into the residency and know about draping before they start actually doing it on patients. So definition, it is a technique of isolating the surgical site from the other unsterile areas of the patient's body and the operating room. I would like to start my talk with a quote in Campbell's orthopedic textbook, which says that draping is an important step in any surgical procedure and should not be assigned to an inexperienced assistant. And unless assistants are well trained, the surgeon should drape the patient himself. So what I have done, I have been asked to give 10 tips about draping. So what I have done is I have formulated 10 questions, and the answers to these questions will be like tips on draping. So let us begin with our first question. So now, what is the need to learn good draping techniques, especially in orthopedics? Surgical site infection, as you all know, is a nightmare for an orthopedic surgeon, and proper draping is one of the most important key to a successful outcome of surgery. Now, in orthopedics, as you all know, there are varied positions that we operate a patient on, like a prone position, supine position, knee chest, lateral, fracture table, beach chair, and draping varies according to the various positions. And there are no written criteria as to the methods of preparation of a patient and draping. And it is based on anticipation and the personal judgment of the operating surgeon.
Okay.
किसने म्यूट किया है?
So that is why I feel it is extremely important to learn proper draping techniques. Now the second question is, who should do the draping? Ideally, the draping should be done by the operating surgeon himself, and it should not be left to the junior assistant, as improper draping can compromise the sterility of the operating field. Also, the surgeon exactly knows the incision and the exposure that he or she is going to need and can plan the draping accordingly. The third question is, how many layers of drapes should be used ideally? Ideally, if you are using the reusable drapes, then ideally 3 layers of drapes should be used. First one being a plastic or a non-permeable one, and the next two with reusable linen drapes. The exception, as I said, being if you are using disposable drapes, which are made of one layer of a non-permeable material, and then you can do with 2 layers. As you can see in the picture, there is first is the plastic drape, and then there are 2 layers of sterile reusable linen drapes. The question 4 is, how important is tourniquet isolation? Tourniquet, as you all know, is unsterile and has to be properly isolated from the operative field, preferably with an impervious plastic drape initially, to prevent liquids from seeping through the cloth drapes and contaminating the operating field, especially when the operating field is close to the site of the tourniquet. So here I have shown how now when you are operating on the leg, you can see that the tourniquet is applied here. And the first drape is a plastic drape, sterile one, which you put under the leg. And the second one, you make a small hole in the drape and then you thread it over the leg. The leg has already been prepared and painted. So you thread the plastic sheet like this, and here with a sponge holding forceps, you just tuck the plastic underneath the tourniquet so that it doesn't come out and the liquids which you are going to use do not come in contact with the tourniquet. Question 5 is, what is adequate exposure? Although it is expected to cover as much body parts around the surgical site as possible with the drapes, one should leave enough so as not to cause obstruction to your access to the operating field and also leave a scope for a possible additional exposure intraoperatively. So this is how. Now here, as you see, here when you are operating on the upper part of the tibia or the lower knee, this is the amount of this. So if you are, say, for example, you are doing a ACL. So now this much exposure is enough if you are going to take a hamstring graft. But if you are going to take a peroneal graft, then this is not enough. And then you need to leave the entire ankle and the foot free so that you can take a peroneal graft. So these are various positions of the patients where I have shown that when you are operating on a hand or a wrist, on a elbow from the posteriorly, or on the forearm, this is the area that you should keep exposed. Question 6. Is repositioning of the drapes a good idea? So ideally, drapes once put should not be repositioned at any cost, as it may bring the unsterile undersurface of the drape in contact with the sterile area. If any drape has a problem, like it is improperly placed or has a hole or is torn somewhere, do not move it. Leave it in place as it is and cover it with another drape. You may have to use an extra drape, but that is okay. Don't move the drape which you have already put once. Question 7. How to secure drapes? There are various ways of securing drapes. Like drapes can be secured with towel clips, Alice forceps, nylon sutures, or adhesive tapes. Although towel clips hold the drapes better in position, the danger is that it can pierce through the drape, causing potential contamination. Hence, blunt instruments like Alice forceps should be used ideally. Suturing the drapes with nylon sutures hold the drape in position for a longer time, but the danger is that it causes a lot of pain post-operatively due to piercing of the skin. Adhesive strips to hold the drapes in position are the best, especially when you are using the disposable type of drapes. Question 8. Fabric of the drape. Does it really matter? Drapes are basically of two types, reusable drapes or disposable drapes. Reusable ones are either of cotton 100% or a mixture of 50-50 cotton polyester blend. All the fabrics used must be suitable for normal washing, boiling, and autoclaving, and be resistant to a 0.1% chlorine solution, which may have to use for disinfection. The color quality of the drapes must be able to withstand repeated washings and sterilization. Fabric should be lint free, as lint is recognized as a vector for causing surgical site infection. Flying lint or fomites act as a medium for transport of microbes. A compromise in the integrity of the microbial barrier results in contamination. Drapes must be free of holes, punctures, and tears. The disposable drapes are generally composed of two layers, one ply being made from a liquid and bacteria-proof polyethylene foil, while the other ply consists of absorbent polypropylene fleece. As a result, these sterile drapes protect the patient from moisture while reducing the risk of cross-contamination and infections. Although there are these two types of drapes, the disposable ones are expensive and the reusable ones are can be used number of times, but number of studies which have been carried on have shown that there is no difference in the rate of surgical site infection whether you are using disposable or reusable drapes. So coming to question 9, what are flame resistant drapes and where should they be used? Over 80% of the operating room fires involve surgical drapes, as all the 3 points of the fire triad are present there. And oxygen, which is there, that is the patient is being given oxygen. So there is an oxygen source, an ignition source like a cautery or a laser, and a fuel source, which are the drapes themselves. So ideally, it is recommended to use fire resistant drapes, especially where a lot of cautery or a laser is going to be used. The only problem is cost is a restrictive factor, and the flame resistant drapes are almost 3 times as costly as the ordinary drapes. So coming to my last question, what is the role of anesthesia curtain? Now, as you know, all of us do this. You put an anesthesia screen to isolate the head end from the operating field. And why it is important? Because it is important to isolate the anesthetist field and their equipments from coming into your field and compromising the sterility of the operating field, especially when the surgery is to be carried out on the upper part of the body, like the shoulder, clavicle, or the upper arm. So it is important to have this sterile anesthesia screen, and also it keeps the surgeon prevent the surgeon from getting distracted from looking at the monitors which are continuously beeping at the head end. So these are the questions that I formulated, and I thank you for a patient hearing.